Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast. What's up? Today is the Tuesday edition of the podcast, and I don't have any guests tonight. It's just me. So, sorry about that for those of you who like tuning into the show because of my guest interviews. You're going to be stuck with me for the evening. However, I think it's going to be a good show. I'm discussing the Oscars and just entertainment in general on tonight's show. I didn't watch the Oscars, and I'll explain why on the show. And then I'm also talking about censorship in technology with Facebook, Twitter, and Google. I've discussed that over the past couple weeks on the show, but there's more developing. I'll have more. I will have a guest on Thursday for the podcast, hopefully, and then Saturday, I'm hoping to have another guest as well. Alrighty, folks. What else can I tell you before we start the show? As always, go to AmericanWatchmen.org. That's the editorial magazine I help run over there. Great guys over there, Adam, Josh, Gabe, and Katie. Well, she's not a guy, but she's awesome nonetheless. And we don't have any sponsors yet, but hopefully that will change here as the podcast gets more popular. Anyway, I'm super excited for you guys to listen to the show, so without further ado, let's get the ball rolling. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live from NGC Studios here in South Florida. And we're over at AmericanWatchmen.org as well. I'm just removing my other earbuds for the show, so hold on a sec. I know I should have done that before I began the program, but whatever. I just didn't want to get the two sets of earbuds tangled. But anyway, the earbuds are removed now, so without further ado, let's begin the show. As I said, I'm Sam Whitfield, your esteemed host, and this is the Whitfield Report, the Tuesday edition. And, this is our Tuesday edition. I usually record the Tuesday edition earlier in the day, but sometimes I like to record the shows at night too, so that's how that goes. You can go to thesamwhitfield.com for all your needs. You can also visit AmericanWatchmen.org, and you can visit my Twitter handle over there at SamW_NGC, hashtag Whitfield Report. And That's how you can follow the show. And if you're watching on our Facebook page, live or on demand, welcome. And if you're watching this on the YouTube archive, thank you for watching as well. And if you're listening to the audio version of this on iTunes or on Anchor.com, thank you for subscribing to the podcast, and please subscribe and write and leave a review. That's probably the best thing you can do, folks, is subscribe to the audio podcast and leave a review there, and like the Facebook page and share this video and others with your friends. Alright, folks, so we have a lot of topics to cover tonight. I was supposed to have a guest for tonight's show, and I was actually supposed to have a guest for Saturday's show as well, but neither have showed, so I've had to prepare a solo show, as it were, so it's just me tonight. But I want to cover two topics that have been pretty significant in America for the last few days. The first thing I want to cover are the Oscars. Now, I did not watch the Oscars this year, as I know that many of my listeners and viewers, I know many of you guys did not watch the Oscars. And if you did, that's fine. And, more power to you. But I actually decided to watch an actual movie instead. Well, in reality, I actually binge watched Frasier again, as I am wanting to do on Sunday nights. But the overall point, I didn't watch the Oscars the other night. And a lot of people I know did not watch the Oscars either. The main reason being, the Oscars, more and more, ladies and gentlemen, they seem to be veering more and more into the political realm of things. No matter how hard we try and get away from politics in the Oscars, there's just simply no way that we can seem to get out from underneath the Oscars. Hi, Zach. The show just started, so thanks for joining us on the Facebook live stream. Feel free to comment and chime in. Folks, real quick, I have to interject before I get back to the monologue. One of the benefits of the Facebook live stream is you can comment on the video in real time, and the software I have allows me to read those out loud. So if you have comments, feel free to chime in. So as I was saying before, I did not watch the Oscars. The other night I watched Frasier instead, and from what I saw yesterday from the highlight reels and whatnot, it appears I didn't miss much. The Oscars have become so politicized, as have all the awards show. But folks, one thing that I've really noticed is mostly the award shows, like the Grammys and the Emmys, they went political a long, long time ago. Whereas the Oscars, I don't know, they seem to have gone political 5 years ago, 6 years ago, in my estimation. I mean, Hollywood has always had a left-wing slant, but the Oscars, for the most part, when I was growing up, seemed to be fairly neutral up until fairly recently. And I have some theories as to why that is. But long story short, I didn't miss much the other night. I guess Shape of Water won Best Picture, which is about a deaf woman who falls in love with like a fish man, and I guess they end up. I know, spoiler for a movie I haven't even seen. A friend of mine went and saw, and he said that basically the premise is there's a deaf woman, she falls in love with a fish man, and with the help of like a transgendered individual and the token black guy in the movie, she basically ends up sleeping with the fish man. Okay, maybe there's a little more to that plot, but from what I've gathered, that seems to be the basis of everything. And if that movie won Best Picture, well then they're not making too many good films. I remember last year I did see Moonlight, which won Best Picture last year, and I watched Moonlight in a film class I took. And I will say this, other than the fact that it was a blatant LGBT propaganda piece, I thought that Moonlight was okay, but it wasn't like a great film. It wasn't a wow film. And I know that many other commentators, not just on the right, but who are relatively politically neutral, they've all said that the Oscars have been pretty, in terms of the films, they've been pretty underwhelming for the past few years. People just don't watch Oscar-nominated films as much as they used to. Now, I'm a film buff. I love cinema, but I haven't watched these films. I'm someone who's more likely to watch kind of like one of these deep artsy films, quote unquote. But some of the premises of these, like I said, with The Shape of Water, have just become so ridiculous and far-fetched that even I can't suspend my disbelief long enough to watch them. There's also, I guess there was also, I can't remember the name of the film. I can't remember, but it was something about, here, let me look these up, actually, folks. Why am I stumbling around? We have the ability to actually look at the screen here, ladies and gentlemen. So, alright, let me look at the, nominees real quick. I'm doing show prep live on air. Okay. 2018 Oscar winners. Okay, okay. Shape of Water won Best Picture. We got that. Darkest Hour. I know that Gary Oldman won that one. Ooh, do I really want to go to the New York Times for this one? Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to go to Vulture. Okay. Oh, Call Me By Your Name. That was the one I was thinking of. Call Me By Your Name, ladies and gentlemen. I guess from what I've read, that one won Best Screenplay. And yet that's the one about the an older man who he falls in love with like a 17-year-old kid, and they end up having like a homosexual relationship. Okay, I know that the left is pretty far out there these days in Hollywood, but even so, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to wonder, at a time when the Kevin Spacey scandal just broke, is it really a good idea that we nominate a film which basically promotes pedophilia? I don't think so. So, I'll link the Oscar nominees up on the website post that I do about the show, and as always, you can find the show notes at thesamwhitfield.com after the show. So we already covered that the Oscar nominees themselves were pretty underwhelming, which that's a reason in and of itself to be that's a reason in and of itself to kind of avoid these things. But the main point I want to focus on is Jimmy Kimmel's Oscar monologue, because it was atrocious. Real quick, Zach is commenting. He says, a few years ago, several Academy members admitted to voting for 12 Years a Slave without seeing it because it was politically correct to do so. From then on, I knew for sure that these awards are useless. They have nothing to do with the quality of work. Exactly, folks. Exactly, Zach. A lot of these films that have come out in the past 5 years or so just seem to be mainly political pandering and virtue signaling from the left. And have you or anyone else actually seen The Shape of Water or Call Me by Your Name? I hadn't even heard of some of these films, and I heard of Call Me by Your Name, but I hadn't heard of The Shape of Water until December, and Darkest Hour I did hear about, but those are pretty much the only ones I had heard about. So really, they're not even nominating any really popular films or any blockbuster hits like they did back in the 90s, which I have a clip on that here in a bit. Okay, yeah, no. So Zach says no. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. So as I was saying, the films are pretty underwhelming themselves, but the main reason why I think it was a good idea to skip the awards from what I saw last night was Jimmy Kimmel. And Jimmy Kimmel is probably the biggest name in terms of Hollywood talk show host, late night talk show host right now, right? Jimmy Kimmel right now is adored by the left because he is saying all the right things. He made a big deal a few months ago when he cried on his own show because he said that Trump wants to kill millions of Americans by taking away Obamacare. And he got a big response from that. And then he said something else in regards to the recent shooting in Florida, saying that gun people are crazy. He also said recently that that in order to be a popular talk show host, in order to be a successful talk show host, you need to be liberal. Now, the one thing I've always said about Jimmy Kimmel is I know that he's a liberal, but I'm surprised at how far to the left he's gone in the past year and a half. Because if you remember, folks, and if you're into comedy or into television, some of you guys will remember this. But Jimmy Kimmel used to be best friends with Adam Carolla, who Adam's not necessarily a conservative, but he leans more libertarian to the right. Adam Carolla, as many of you guys know, is friends with Dennis Prager and Hugh Hewitt, and they've all done college speaking tours together. So, with that in mind, I do have to wonder why Jimmy Kimmel is so far to the left. But anyway, he was the one who was chosen to host the Oscars this year. And he starts off his monologue by basically saying that they're going to keep the Oscars politically neutral this year, that this isn't about politics. And then, within the first 3 minutes, he makes a joke basically trying to slam on Trump and all of conservatism. I have the clip right here. Hopefully YouTube and Facebook don't take this screen off since I'm commentating over it. But here we go.
Welcome. And most importantly, congratulations. Congratulations to everyone who's nominated tonight. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. I'm excited. I've never been to the Oscars before. This is my first time here, and the way you people go through host is probably my last time here, so I'm going to enjoy this while I'm here. This broadcast is being watched live by millions of Americans and around the world in more than 225 countries that now hate us. And I think that is...
Okay, immediately, not even 30 seconds in, ladies and gentlemen, Kimmel makes the remark that that this is being watched by 220 countries that now hate us. Okay, why? Because Trump is president? That's the immediate insinuation, of course. If we're going along with Jimmy Kimmel's logic that we're being watched in countries that hate us, well, a lot of the countries that actually do hate us, they didn't like us that much when Obama was in power either, right? But the left always gets this idea that if there's a Democrat in power or if there's a liberal president in power, that all of these countries, quote unquote, like us, but if it's a Republican president, they hate us. We saw this when Bush was in office, and we see this now with Trump being in office. But keep in mind, that was just 30 seconds into that, and we're already slamming on Trump and the United States of America in general, I might add.
An amazing thing. As you know, I don't have to tell anybody, the country is divided right now. I've been getting a lot of advice. People have been telling me it's time to bring everyone together. You need to say something to unite us. And let's just get something straight off the top. I can't do that. There's only one Braveheart in this room, and he's not going to unite us either. Okay? No, you look great. I think the Scientology is working. I really do. I'm not the man to unite this country, but it can be done. If every person watching this show, I don't want to get too serious, but there are millions and millions of people watching right now, and if every one of you took a minute to reach out to one person you disagree with, someone you like, and have a positive, considerate conversation, not as liberals or conservatives, as Americans, if we would all do that, we could make America great again. We really could. It starts with us.
Okay, the irony of this is that just a few weeks ago, he pretty much plainly said that in order to be a successful talk show host, you need to be a liberal, essentially. He also said that Trump wanted to kill Americans because he was taking Obamacare away from people. So yeah. So this is one of the reasons why people aren't buying into Jimmy Kimmel's shtick anymore. He doesn't mean what he says. At all. We're only a minute and 35 minutes into this. I'm not going to play this whole monologue because it's pretty painful to sit through, and aside from that, I really don't want to get my stream taken down or whatever on some BS copyright claim. Which is why I'm commenting over this clip, YouTube. If you guys are watching, I am not infringing on any copyrights. This is fair use. I know the folks watching at home know this, but I've just got to put it in there for my YouTube and Facebook overlords. So, anyway, continuing on.
And tonight, in the spirit of healing and bringing people together, I would like to bury the hatchet with someone I've had issues with. What? Matt Damon. Now, Matt, I've known Matt for a long time now. You know what? I've known Matt so long. When I first met Matt, I was the fat one. Okay? True. And we've had problems. He's a selfish person. Those of you who've worked with him know this. But Matt did something very unselfish, and I want to commend him for it. For real. Matt, as you probably know, could have starred in Manchester by the Sea. He was the producer. It's nominated for 6 Oscars, including lead actor. And he could have taken that lead actor part for himself, but he didn't. He gave that role to Casey Affleck, his childhood friend. He handed what turned out to be an Oscar-caliber role over to his friend and made a Chinese ponytail movie instead. And that movie, The Great Wall, went on to lose $80 million. Smooth move, dumbass.
So yes, I know it's comedy, I know it's satire and whatnot, but Kimmel essentially right there undermines his main point. And you know, he is basically admitting, you know, stuff about, he's basically admitting that he himself is biased, and, you know, rather than, you know, trying to come together, he's insulting Matt Damon. Kind of funny, but, you know, also he's kind of undermining his own narrative there at a deep level.
It's so easy to reach out and heal. And I want to say, maybe this is not a popular thing to say, but I want to say thank you to President Trump. I mean, remember last year when it seemed like the Oscars were racist? That's gone. Thanks to him. It has been an amazing year for movies. Black people saved NASA and white people saved jazz. That's what you call progress.
Okay, and it just keeps going on and on like this throughout the evening, from what I heard from people who actually did watch this. Why did I just show that? Why did I spend 3 minutes looking at that clip? Well, it's just to prove a point, ladies and gentlemen, right? Kimmel starts off the evening trying to say that, you know, he wants to bring people together, and, you know, that he wants to start a conversation, you know, that Americans, that we should have conversations, deep conversations with people who we disagree with. And then simultaneously, he throws that out the window and kind of says, yeah, you guys should do that, but us, nah, we're not going to do that. And it just continues the narrative that conservatives, that's basically their whole message. Conservatives need to, sit down and they need to listen and they need to acquiesce. But, we as liberal elites, you should join us and you should laugh at our jokes. And if you don't laugh at our jokes, well, you're just stubborn, rednecks in flyover country. That's how that goes. So, Jimmy Kimmel hosting the Oscars, what else did you expect? Ben Shapiro from the Daily Wire on his podcast on Monday, he had an excellent segment in which he explained why the Oscars are so unpopular, kind of saying the same thing that I said in the opening of the program. But I want to play this for you because I think it's spot on, and he really brings up some issues here with the Oscars and how they've been seen the last few years. Clip number 2, go.
One of the reasons that you can see that Hollywood has shifted its view of itself is the change in the demographic of the people who actually watch Oscar films. So it used to be that Oscar films between 1983 and 2003, really, virtually every Oscar film was a major winner in terms of the box office. Virtually every Oscar film did really well at the box office, at least the films that won Best Picture. Right? And so I'm going to look up the list right now, and I will tell you, there has not been an actual good movie that has won Best Picture at the Oscars, like a great movie that's won Best Picture at the Oscars, in my opinion, since 2010, and there hasn't been a box office winner at the Oscars for nearly 15 years. For nearly 15 years. It's really an amazing, amazing thing. Let's look back at the Best Picture winners. So, 2016, the Best Picture winner was Moonlight, which made like $5 at the box office. Before that, it was Spotlight. Fine movie, completely forgettable. I enjoyed Spotlight. I think Moonlight is a fine film. It was obviously the social justice winner because it was about gay black people in the inner city. Whatever, that's fine, but that's not exactly designed to be a box office busting winner. Okay, Spotlight won the year before that. The year before that, it was Birdman, which I thought was just an execrable film. I just thought it was an awful, awful movie. 12 Years a Slave, which I think is a very good movie, but not obviously one that's going to bust down the box office doors. Right? It's about slavery. It is not a highly entertaining film. I think it's a well-made film. I don't think it's as well-made as, for example, Schindler's List, but 12 Years a Slave is a good movie. But is it like an all-time classic movie? Probably not. Argo, which is completely forgettable now. Do you even remember Argo? I remember when it won. Like, I saw it. It's fine. It's fun. But it's not like Argo is not an important movie. The Artist.
He brought up Argo. Argo there for a sec, and I will point out that I thought Argo was pretty good when I saw it, but again, it was pretty forgettable, and it just didn't really do all that well at the box office commercially.
Right? None of these movies made more than $5 at the box office. The King's Speech was the last really great movie that I think was a big winner at the Oscars. The Hurt Locker was the year before that. Slumdog Millionaire, which did decently at the box office, but won over like The Dark Knight. Are you kidding me? Okay, are you kidding me? It hasn't even, that was 2008. Okay, it's been 10 years. Does anyone even watch Slumdog Millionaire now? It's a fine film. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's not The Dark Knight. Okay, No Country for Old Men is 2007. That was the last big box office winner that actually did really, really well at the Oscars, was No Country for Old Men. So that was 2007. And before that was The Departed, which, meh. Okay, Crash, the worst movie of all time. Okay, $1 Million Baby, again, okay, but sorry, movies about euthanasia don't exactly blow it up at the box office. And then you get, but by 2003, I think it was really in the Bush era that this happened. 2003, by the middle of the Bush era, you can see the shift for Hollywood. The shift goes from, we are here to make movies that entertain you, to, we are here to make movies that are specifically designed to say something important. Because before 2003, all of the movies that were winning were big box office winners. The reason this is important is the people in Hollywood, the people who vote at the Academy Awards, see their role differently. They see their role in life, seriously, as we are here in order not to make big movies that make lots of money and earn us all enormous paychecks. That's something nice that we do. But what we're really here to do is push a message. And you can see that from the Oscar winners, because before that it was Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. It was Gladiator. It was Shakespeare in Love, which did really well. It was Titanic. It was Braveheart. It was Forrest Gump. It was Schindler's List and Unforgiven. It was Silence of the Lambs. It was Dances with Wolves, right? Every other year, it was a top 5 to top 10 box office movie that was winning. And we haven't had one of those in like 15 years. Okay, there's a reason for that, and it's because Hollywood does have messages it wants to promote. So we're going to talk about some of the messages that they wanted to promote at the Oscars last night. One of the reasons that you can see that Hollywood has shifted its view of itself is the change in the...
Okay, sorry there, I had to unmute my mic. Basically, everything that Shapiro said in that clip there is spot on. The Oscars, bottom line, folks, have just not been good for the past, 10 years, roughly 15. And it's getting even worse with all the political virtue signaling that they've been doing. And that's basically all they've been doing at the Oscars for the past 10 years. So, bottom line, folks, I didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything if you skipped the Oscars entirely. Alright, we've got that out of the way. Now, on to more serious subjects, and I was going to talk about this more on last Saturday, but the guest I had, or was supposed to have lined up, he never got back to me, so I've been trying to reschedule the interview with him. But folks, lately, there's been a big deal made about censorship on social media platforms, such as Facebook and Twitter, and more specifically YouTube. YouTube has been really egregious about censoring conservative viewpoints on their platform, and to the point now where federal and senatorial hearings have been held on the matter of Twitter and Facebook and Google censoring. Now, I have an article here from the dailycaller.com. And so you may remember a few months ago, Twitter got in trouble for censoring pro-life groups, and it really seems like they haven't stopped doing this, ladies and gentlemen. I have an article here from the Daily Caller. Headline: Twitter keeps censoring pro-lifers. Conservative writer Devin Senna tweeted a picture Saturday of a healthy unborn baby with this caption: "This is human." He added the hashtag "trigger a liberal" in four words. Twitter chose to suppress the factually accurate tweet as quote-unquote sensitive material and warned certain users before they saw it. Upon review, we have determined that this media is potentially sensitive and have labeled it accordingly. There will now be a click-through warning message over the media for users whose accounts are set so they are informed before viewing media that may be sensitive, Twitter said in an email to Senna that was reviewed by the Daily Caller News Foundation. The email warned that all of Senna's future tweets could be suppressed in a similar manner if he didn't self-censor in the future. Now, that's very important to point out, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll get to why that's important here in a sec. Twitter has constantly censored pro-lifers who use the platform to raise awareness on behalf of unborn babies. The tech giant in February barred pro-life group Human Coalition from advertising 3 pro-life tweets. And you can see a tweet from Human Coalition here, which reads, "Intentionally killing a human being contradicts the Hippocratic Oath." Now, for those of you who are listening to this on the podcast, you cannot see the article, obviously, so I'm reading this for the audio listeners. Abortion is the leading cause of death among Black Americans and the ultimate form of racism. Yet it is rarely part of the national conversation on racism. That's another tweet. And then a third tweet that the coalition sent out that got censored was, there's no moral, social, cultural, or health reason for Planned Parenthood to exist. Hashtag fake healthcare. Hashtag end abortion. Twitter has removed the 3 Human Coalition ads. This is going back to the article, ladies and gentlemen. Just 3 hours after they went up, the group said. Human Coalition resubmitted the 3 ads to Twitter on Monday. They have yet to be approved. Other pro-life groups have battled similar suppression from Twitter, which did not return the DCNF's request for comment. That's the Daily Caller News Foundation. Pro-life group Live Action crowd fell in 2017 after Twitter demanded it delete pro-life images, such as fetal ultrasounds, from its Twitter feed and website before allowing the group to run advertisements. Live Action refused the request. Another pro-life group, the Susan B. Anthony List, was barred in October from running a video advertisement because it used the phrase "killing babies" to refer to abortion. No advertiser is permitted to use the phrase "killing babies," Twitter told the group. That same month, Twitter blocked an advertisement by Republican Representative Marsha Blackburn's campaign for Senate in Tennessee. Twitter objected to one line where Blackburn said, "I'm 100% pro-life, I fought Planned Parenthood, and we stopped the sale of baby body parts. Thank God." Alright, so Twitter essentially censored Representative Blackburn for saying that. Ladies and gentlemen, the tech giant demanded that Blackburn remove the reference to Planned Parenthood selling baby parts, but she refused and went on the offensive instead, demanding Twitter apologize for censoring her. Twitter reversed course after the ensuing backlash and allowed Blackburn to run the ads. Blackburn's experience suggests conservative might, with enough pressure, be able to shame Twitter into softening its censorship of pro-life messages. And that's the end of the article, folks. So, why is this important? Because censorship is a big, big problem among the major internet platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, and it's not getting any better. Okay, what Senator Blackburn said, in my mind, it may be controversial, but it's certainly not offensive in terms of languaging. She is simply stating her belief that abortion is the murder of unborn children, a view which I hold as well. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you're a pro-life individual. Or no, excuse me, that you're a pro-life individual and that I'm a pro-choice individual. Okay? Or vice versa. Senator Blackburn was not saying anything vulgar like fuck Planned Parenthood. She wasn't making calls to action to say, kill Planned Parenthood workers or anything violent or extreme in that nature, ladies and gentlemen. Yet because she simply ran on the platform of the fact that she's a pro-life candidate, Twitter has continued to censor her. And this isn't the only instance that we've seen of this, right? Twitter censored Milo Yiannopoulos a year and a half ago now for simply writing a negative critique of the Ghost Rider movie, not the Ghost Rider movie, the Ghostbusters movie, the horrible feminist SJW remake, which didn't do real well and tanked at the box office. Speaking of movies, he wrote a negative press review of that movie. Called out Leslie Jones specifically for her role in that. She attacked him, called him some nasty names. He did retaliate in typical Milo fashion and call her a name, but he never threatened her. Her followers threatened him, and yet he was the one who received a permanent ban from Twitter. I guess earlier this week, from what I've heard, Alex Jones received 2 strikes on his account. He received a 3rd strike, and then it immediately got rescinded. But had that 3rd strike stayed in place, he would have been banned permanently from YouTube, where he has something like over 2 million subscribers. Now, even for me, ladies and gentlemen, even for a small-time independent podcaster like myself, Facebook and YouTube might not consider me an existential threat to them in the same way that they see someone like Alex Jones or Paul Joseph Watson. But recently, they've basically made changes to their monetization program, where basically any subscriber under 1,000 viewers, or any YouTube channel under 1,000 subscribers is not eligible for monetization. Okay? And we're not just talking political YouTube channels, we're talking YouTube channels across the board. Okay, now say I'm a new YouTube channel, or say I'm a YouTube channel that does not have 1,000 subscribers, which I do not on this channel. There's really no incentive for me to keep putting up YouTube videos or for me to keep putting up content if the barrier to entry for YouTube monetization has been set at 1,000 followers, okay? For some people, that's no brainer to reach, but for a lot of people, even getting 500 subscribers initially in this climate of viral videos it takes work. It takes a lot of work. And so the barrier to entry to even get paid now has been set just that much higher. It would be one thing if they paid maybe YouTube channels a lower monetization wage, but no, they've started stripping YouTube monetization altogether. And that is a shame. Furthermore, YouTube has started censoring Prager University, and Prager University has actually entered into a lawsuit with YouTube over this fact that their videos are being censored. And as a result, Senator Ted Cruz has started an investigation into this on Capitol Hill. And last month, there was a hearing in which Senator Cruz asked representatives from Facebook, Twitter, and Google about this. And I want to play for you a clip of the testimony of these three representatives and the way Ted Cruz questioned them, because I think it's rather brilliant, if I do say so myself. Clip number 3, go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to each of the witnesses. I'd like to start by asking each of the company representatives a simple question, which is, do you consider your companies to be neutral public fora? Ms. Becker?
Thank you, Senator. The mission of our company is to connect people. We do not look at ideology or politics. We want people to be able to connect and share who they are.
So I'm just looking for a yes or no, whether you consider yourself to be a neutral public forum.
We do not have any policies about political ideology that affect our platform.
Ms. Downs?
Yes, our goal is to design products for everyone, subject to our policies and the limitations they impose on the types of content that people may share on our products.
So you're saying...
Now, the testimony that Ms. Downs just put up, and I believe Downs is the representative from Facebook. Notice that she said that they do not impose political ideology, but that it depends on the material based on their terms of service, which can be a bit dicey. And I'll explain why that is in a sec.
Well, let me focus for a minute, Mr. Manche. As you know, there have been yourself to be a neutral public forum.
We do not have any policies about political ideology that affect our platform.
Ms. Downs?
Yes, our goal is to design products for everyone, subject to our policies and the limitations they impose on the types of content that people may share on our products.
So you're saying you do consider YouTube to be a neutral public forum?
Correct. We enforce our policies in a politically neutral way. Certain things are prohibited by our community guidelines, which are spelled out and provided publicly to all of our users.
Mr. Manche?
Yes, sir.
Well, let me focus for a minute, Mr. Manche. As you know, there have been
Now, just to clarify, folks, Mr. Monjay is the representative from Twitter, and what you're about to see Cruz do is refer to a series of instances where Twitter censored conservatives. And for those of you watching this on the Facebook video or on the YouTube archives, if this even makes it to YouTube, you will see how squirmy the Twitter representative gets here. And it's pretty interesting to watch.
Several videos that were released in recent weeks that I and a lot of other people find highly troubling. And so I want to give you an opportunity to respond to them. One individual, Abneoff Vadrevu, described as a former Twitter software engineer, was captured on video saying the following, quote, "One strategy is to shadow ban, so you have ultimate control. The idea of a shadow ban is that you ban someone, but they don't know they've been banned because they keep posting and no one sees their content. So they just think that no one is engaging with their content, when in reality, no one is seeing it." Is that a practice that occurs at Twitter?
No, sir, we do not shadow ban users.
Why would this individual described as a former Twitter software engineer say that?
Thank you for the opportunity to respond, Senator, about this. These folks were caught on video. They weren't speaking on behalf of the company. They were speaking in their personal capacity. We do not shadow ban folks. What we do.
Okay, how were these engineers not speaking on behalf of the company? They were Twitter employees at the time, right? So how were they not speaking on behalf of Twitter? This makes no sense, and, Monjay really, honestly, he does a bad job failing, of clarifying that fact, in my opinion. And in this clip, Cruz never gets on him specifically about that, but in other videos I have seen of the testimony, which I can't play here yet on the show, you will notice that Monjay, the representative from Twitter, is unable, in all honesty, to talk about the undercover videos that Project Veritas filmed.
Is if an account is spammy, meaning engaging in malicious automation, we will hide, make it harder for them to be found on our platform. If I could continue, sir. That was one of the reasons why the efforts that we saw with the Russian misinformation didn't hit as big a mark as they were hoping for. We were able to stop that in real time.
Another individual named Mo Narai, Twitter content review agent, was quoted on video as saying, "On stuff like that, it was more discretion on your viewpoint. I guess how you felt about a particular matter. Yeah, if they said this is, quote, pro-Trump, I don't want it because it offends me, this, that. And I say I ban the whole thing. And it goes over here, and they are like, oh, you know what? I don't like it too. You know what? Mo's right. Let's go. Let's carry on. What's next?" Is that individual describing a practice that occurs at Twitter?
No, sir. We use algorithms as a way to, if we see an account that is being abusive, that also will be downranked. If they are engaging in targeted abuse against minorities, if they're being, if they are consistently violating our.
Okay, in the case of Milo Yiannopoulos, though, I'm sorry, but Leslie Jones, although she may be African American, she is certainly not a minority. She's a celebrity and she's a public figure, a well-known public figure at that, and so therefore trying to hide behind the excuse of minority status when in fact you're a celebrity is malarkey, in all honesty. And yet, Mr. Mange of Twitter here is basically trying to mention the fact that that Twitter downgrades the accounts that are actively targeting minorities.
The service, but they haven't crossed the line into being suspended. We'll make it less visible. But what we won't do is make your followers will always be able to see you, and we are not. We ensure that if you go on Twitter at any moment, you can see arguments on all sides of the issue.
I want to make sure I'm understanding you right. You're saying for some people who are posting, you will restrict viewership only to those who are actively following them?
If we believe that they're engaged in malicious automation, if we believe that they're violating our terms of service when it comes to abuse.
So is it your position that the individuals that are subject to this form of censorship are extremist or fringe? Is that what you're telling us?
It depends on the user. I can tell you that this is not something that we hide from the public. This is out in the open. The fact that we will reduce the visibility of tweets that are abusive or that are engaged in malicious automation.
Well, let me ask, what about Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn? Is she someone you would consider somehow abusive or fringe or otherwise?
No, sir.
Well, then why did Twitter restrict and censor her announcement video announcing as a candidate for United States Senate?
I want to be very clear about that, sir, and thank you for the question, is that we never removed her tweet. What she did do is advertise on our platform. We do, like many platforms, have a higher standard when it comes to our advertising because we are putting in front of people things they didn't ask to see. Her video was reported to us. There was a decision that was made that was later reversed because of some of the language that was used in her account. It was a mistake, and we acknowledged it.
So her announcement was censored because it was pro-life content. Has Twitter ever censored anyone for pro-choice content?
She was never censored.
So you're saying nothing happened to her tweet?
Her tweet got a lot of attention on the organic side. We action our accounts. We take our terms of service very seriously. Sometimes we make the wrong decision. We have action on all sides of issues, and we strive to be better every day.
And let me ask a final question because my time has expired, Ms. Downs. I'd like to know what is YouTube's policy with respect to Prager University and the allegations that the content Prager University is putting out are being restricted and censored by YouTube?
As I mentioned, we enforce our policies in a politically neutral way. In terms of the specifics of Prager University, it's a subject of ongoing litigation, so I'm not free to comment on the specifics of that case.
Well, I will say the pattern of political censorship that we are seeing across the technology companies is highly concerning. And the opening question I asked you of whether you're a neutral public forum, if you are a neutral public forum, that does not allow for political editorializing and censorship. And if you're not a neutral public forum, the entire predicate for liability immunity under the CDA is claiming to be a neutral public forum. So you can't have it both ways. Thank you.
And Cruz hit the nail on the head right there with that remark at the end. Right now, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube are all claiming to be neutral platforms under the CDA, which basically means in two ways that they are under a different tax classification for the IRS as a business, and from what I understand, that also makes it more difficult for them to be sued for discrimination based on practice. Because right now, if I were to sue Facebook, Google, or Twitter for censoring my content, it would be very hard for me to argue that they were doing so because they're classified as a neutral publishing platform as opposed to like an editorial news or opinion website. Okay, so that's the crux of the matter there. And folks, we are just about out of time for tonight's program. So I want to thank you for listening. We'll be back on Saturday evening, I believe, and hopefully we will have a guest. Then I may have a guest on Thursday as well, but for right now, Saturday is a for sure thing. So folks, I want to thank you for watching / listening to the program and for putting up with me for an hour. I want to thank you very much. As always, you can go to thesamwhitfield.com for more content from me. Follow me on Twitter at @SamDibber_NGC, #Whitfield Report. And thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you later this week on the next episode of the Whitfield Report. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.